welcome to my scrapping space. I'm Joni Martin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Southwest Wisconsin. And today I'm going to show you a quick and easy card made with this beautiful paper pack. Let's get my face out of the way and let's do some creating. So the card takes a printed piece from this paper pack, a little embossing, and a couple of my favorite embellishments, and before you know it, we're ready to go. So let's take a quick second and look at this paper pack. It's from the Nature's Sweetness Suite. Say that 3 times. And it is in the January to April catalog. So the front side of each paper is a beautiful metallic. Just really gorgeous and so versatile. Whatever you make with it looks good. And I mean, really, I just can't quit playing with it. It's gorgeous. Then on the back are some matte, so there's no glitter. This I think is one of my favorite prints. There's something about a grid I just love. So, and this color is Pecan Pie. This is the piece we're using today. This piece will give us 6 card fronts. So that's going to be just, it's so easy. I'm going to set that aside so I can give you a couple tips about cutting it. This is a great background, isn't it? And again, foil on one side and these great matte backgrounds. Oh, we made a card with this in class this week. It was a hit. This is very pretty. And for you, those of you who like to color out there, I think this one calls your name. And then another lovely grid paper. But we're going to focus on this one. It does 6 card fronts. And the first thing you need to decide is how large do you want your card front? So I'm going to mat mine. So I've cut mine to 3 3/4 by 5. But all my numbers, all the measurements, supply lists are in the blog linked below this video. So you can go back and check. And really, it's an extra cutting step, but the easiest way is simply to start by cutting it in half, which would be 6 inches. Then I just, once I got figured out how I was doing it, but then I just kind of moved my cutter to get to where I had this image centered in the 5-inch piece, okay? And then I centered each one so they were 3 3/4. And once you did one, it went really quickly. So for this card, I have one of the pieces, and there's 3 different images, and then they're repeated again. They're really great. I'm doing some of these because I think they'd be a really pretty, subtle Easter card. So there's that. The other pieces I have for my card, this is Pecan Pie. I'm all about neutrals, monochromatics. That's my style of card. So I have a Pecan Pie card base. And then I have 2 little strips, and I'll talk about those, but that's really all there is to it. It goes really quick. Now, I would not have ever thought, oh, I think I'll put those 2 together. They're going to look really good. But that's the beauty of Stampin' Up! They put colors together that would not have occurred to me, and then they give you a print paper that makes it all work together, and you're like, well, of course they go together. So that's what I did. The card mat is a standard 4 by 5 1/4. So the first thing we're going to do is attach these 2. Now, I'm a big fan of the liquid glue, and you'll see me use it a lot. But after we attach these, I'm going to run it through one of our 3D embossing folders. That applies a lot of pressure. And if you have too much glue, you're going to get glue that's going to go everywhere. It's going to come out between, on your folder. So this is just safer if you're going to do embossing after you attach, do some adhering. So I just have a little bit on here. I'm going to center it. And I wanted some overall texture. I just think it adds interest. So this is the time-worn type. You could use any kind of background embossing folder. You don't want something that has a lot of impression. I did a video earlier you can catch that used the layered florals, which is a stunning folder, but it has a lot of deep impressions, and that's not what you want. You just kind of want overall background. You don't want the embossing to take over. So grab one of your basic embossing folders. And as with all embossing folders, I'm going to make sure that it's not all the way to the top. Sometimes we think, oh, it will be really tight in there and stay, but then we're going to have a line at the top that's not embossed. Not a good look. So instead, I'm going to use the line that Stampin' Up gave me. I'm going to make sure that Stampin' Up logo's on the top and fold first. Because this is one of our thicker enfolders, it's going to need just plates 1 and 4. Here's plate 1. You always use plate 1. It's just what you're going to add to it. And plate 4. I'm going to grab my cut and emboss machine. 1 and 4. Always a plate on top. Whether you're die cutting or embossing, always a plate on top. It protects your machine and whatever die cut or embossing folder you're using. And see how smooth that goes through? If your die sandwich isn't going through that smoothly, stop and check. You might have the wrong, as we call it, recipe for the plates. Like there's something you have the wrong plate. Okay. So now we've gone from a print that was nice to something that has a lot more interest. It's just a little bit of texture. It doesn't take over. Easy to do. I wanted to add something else on here because I felt like it just needed one more little piece to bring in this color. And so this is that paper. I pointed out when I was going through the papers how much I like that grid. And I have a tiny piece. It's just 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to add it here. You can add it anywhere. I'm going to put it right at what I consider the top. Now on this one, I put it at the bottom, wherever it works for you. I'm using my glass plate so I can use the grid to kind of line that up, but again, wherever you want to put it. And I'm going to use, this is a great place for the multi-purpose glue. And really, just a little bit. My strip is longer than the card I'm putting it on because then I have handles. But see how little glue I have on there? Not much at all. I'm lining it up, and I find if I can line it up in the grid and get my card base straight, or my card front, whatever you're doing, then it's going to be easier to get everything else on there straight. And just like that. How easy was that? I'm going to let that set up a minute. While I'm doing it, let's do some more gluing. So we have this beautiful card. We're not going to send it in a naked envelope. So I grabbed this same print. This is 2 1/4 by 6, but again, all the numbers will be on the blog link below. I'm going to fold the envelope flap back and put a little glue on the envelope flap. And it's just going to go like that. And I'm just putting it around the outside, but I'm putting it all the way around the outside because I don't want a loose piece of paper to get caught in a postal machine and it won't be pretty. So I'm holding this up to kind of give me something to push back against. And then I'm just going to lay this here and do that. So we have one more thing to glue. Like I said, this will probably be an Easter card, but it could be a note card. And so I'm going to leave my blank space when I decide what it's going to be, but I'm going to add a touch of this because that brings the front of the card to the inside. And again, just a touch of glue. This is really strong glue. You don't need a lot of it. And I'm lining that up with the top of my card. Now I'm not going to glue this in the card base yet because it will be easier to stamp outside of there. And I've managed to get glue all over on here. Let's just take 1 second and wipe it up because I don't know about you, but if I don't, it's going to end up where I don't want it on my card. My glass mat came with this little scrubby, which is just wonderful. It takes everything off, including the adhesive on my fingers. Okay, there we go. Let's do some trimming now. With the edge of your card, you're going to get rid of all the snips, everything extra. I'm going to use my envelope flap as my guide. Like so. There's that. And lastly, we're going to trim here. We're almost done. This is how quick and easy this card comes together. And yet so versatile with those 3 different prints, It could be a sympathy card, a note card, a birthday card. Okay, let's grab our card base. Again, this is pecan pie. And this is going to go on here. And we're going to, it's embossed, so it isn't a flat, smooth surface. So your liquid adhesive glue is always a better option when you're attaching an embossed piece. The glue can kind of go in the crevices. A tape runner tends to just run over the top of it and may not be as good of adhesion. I like to open my card base, and then I'm just going to put it here. And look at that. The colors come together. I wanted one more thing on here, and I didn't want anything too blingy. I just felt like it didn't fit with the card. So if you haven't seen these in the annual catalog, look them up. They are tiny cork rounds. I can't quit using them. I've used them for so many projects. And because I have the paper here, I'm going to put the embellishments here as kind of a balance. They're the same height, so it doesn't matter if you use the larger ones or the smaller ones. And like I'm doing, you could do both. I tend to do my embellishments in odd numbers, usually 3 in a triangular shape. There we go. They kind of mimic the ink spots. They just add one more piece. And like I said, I'm not going to glue this in because I don't know what it's going to be yet and I want to stamp it. But look what that does when you have that paper there. So easy. And there you go. And you can get 6 card fronts from that one sheet of paper, and there's 2 pieces of paper in that paper pack. It's a great paper pack. I just wanted to share one idea with it from it, but there's so much you can do with that paper pack. Thanks for watching my video. If what I shared was helpful, please let your crafting buddies know about my YouTube channel. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. You don't want to miss any future videos. If you have any questions about the products I used, reach out to your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd be honored to help you. Until next time, take care and keep crafting. It's good for you.